welcome to episode 35. I think we're almost halfway through, a bit more halfway through the season.
8 episodes in, so
Yeah,
I
so
hope
that's
you're all
basic.
caught up. You
Absolutely.
have work to do if you're not.
If you haven't, you need to do that. All the music, all the good stuff we've been sharing, you need to make sure you're caught up.
Yeah.
Remember that if you're watching us on YouTube, to subscribe on iTunes. Please rate us on all the platforms possible. Follow, like,
and
all
give us
that.
one share on one of your socials, please
do
so that
that for
somebody
us.
else can discover us as well.
Absolutely. And with that, straight into the news, right?
Okay, so in the news, the Food and Drugs Board in December ordered the withdrawal of 16 brands of tomato paste from the market. And according to the press release, those brands in question were found to contain both starch and erythrocene. Now, erythrocene is a chemical component of what is actually called red number 3. So it's a artificial color. And now, the two issues that led to the recall are one, the labels did not indicate the presence of either starch or coloring in the products, and two, these products no longer conform to the Ghana standard for tomato paste, which does not allow starch and color additives to the tomato paste, which is a good thing, actually. So it contravened both the standards for tomato paste and contravened the labeling laws, which require all contents in a product to be listed on the label. So I do, again, commend the Food and Drugs Board, because I didn't think they were on top of things to this extent. Apparently, they randomly test products on a regular basis, and they had tested 70 different brands of tomato paste, and in doing so found out that these 16 no longer conformed to the food standards. Now, there are two problems here, I must say. One being that I would have liked to know how often they do this and how many products they do this for. Because it would be nice to know that at least once a month or once a quarter or something like that, they test these products so we know that we're not eating garbage, because, all these things have to do is pass the testing once, and then somewhere during the production process, they just start messing with things, which is, I believe, the case with these 16 brands of tomato paste. The other problem being, even though they announced the withdrawal, where was the praxis? Did they actually go around to make sure that, suppliers and sellers actually removed the products from the shelves? And I have a very strong suspicion that they did not, because my mom ended up buying one of the tomato paste that was on the list there. And I was looking at it, and I was like, why does this seem familiar? I feel like I've something about this. So I went and looked on the list, and there it was. So I feel like, they made people, for the average seller or some woman in the market, she's already bought these things for sale. So if you're telling her to take them off the market, she stands to lose for however many of those she bought and is trying to sell. So people are not going to just voluntarily, out of the goodness of their heart, stop selling. And if you're in a position where, because I read about this online, I don't know how much of a campaign they actually did to create awareness for people to actually know that these things are no longer safe. Because again, erythrocene has been indicated as possibly being carcinogenic. So, it's debatably safe. So, I'm wondering if they actually have agents going to the market to make sure these things aren't on shelves anymore, and if all the people who need to know about this actually do know about this, because
but I also feel like if they do that, it means the market people are probably going to say, well, who's going to compensate me? I used money to buy this. Where am I going to get my money from? If you can't guarantee me that I'm getting money, I'm still going to sell it. So
you have, it's becomes a situation where there's no, there's no compelling reason for them, their bottom line is money. They're not really they're not here to look after your health for you. So, I think it's great that they announce, and it's great that they're doing this, and I hope it's a consistent and regular thing. But I feel like more needs to be done in terms of they actually need to go with a van and a task force kind of thing and get these products off the shelves, because I'm sure somebody is busy eating jollof as we speak that contains tomato paste with red coloring and starch in it. So
that's terrible.
Yeah. So.
And two things I also want to say. That one, a good thing would be to maybe monthly or every 2 months regularly publish a list of products that have been banned and should not be sold, and let it be known all over that people
or have a
know,
place where we can go
to,
and check each month or on a regular basis, as opposed to a press release that shows up on Ghana Web or wherever I saw it.
And it's not accessible to everybody.
Exactly. Anyway, people, not everyone goes online, or again, I'm not sure if it was on the radio or what, because I don't really listen to the radio, but I feel like I almost missed it, and I'm sure that means other people it was the same for them. So,
and the second thing I wanted to say is that this there have been news items on other things. There was a time when they thought Kobe was formaldehyde, I think, used for Kobe. There was at the time they put color in palm oil.
And then there was the tilapias that they went and dug out of the pit and carted away, and people suspected they were going to be sold.
So these things are probably happening, but we don't know, and nobody's really checking. So they really need to be on top of
more vigilant and again more informative generally, so that we know what's up and can stay away from these things. If they can't actually take the extra step of getting rid of them, at least we know don't buy that one.
And then we won't. Yeah, exactly. That's
so
a good one.
That's mine. Great. All right.
So mine in the news is on the disappearing donkeys in Walewale. Now, this is a serious issue. It sounds kind of jokey, but it is a serious issue. Now, the farmers in Walewale have been stressing over their donkeys because they're getting stolen. And in 2012, the Walewale district approved the opening of an abattoir owned by a Chinese guy called Nicholas Liu or something. Now, if you didn't know, the donkey hide business is $1 million business.
Because I was like, what do they need these donkeys for? Is it farming or?
And it is estimated that there's a demand of 4.8 million donkey hides per year. Wow. Now, a jar of donkey hide glue is used by the Chinese for medicine and for treating illnesses. So it's in pretty high demand. Now, Walewale is particularly attractive for this abattoir because of the donkey population there, but then also because of the neighboring countries, which also have a large donkey population. And initially, there was a lot of resistance to this because people knew that their donkeys may probably be under attack. And the people were calmed down and told them, no, they're only going to get rid of old donkeys or sick donkeys. Obviously, this was not the case. And at some point, the factory did open in 2013, and they started slaughtering donkeys for about 20 to 40 per day, which increased by 70 at some point. By 2014, they were slaughtering 150 to 170 donkeys per day.
That's a lot,
Listen. And then in mid-2000...
how many sick donkeys are there?
The thing is that they stopped slaughtering just sick donkeys and started slaughtering just normal, healthy donkeys. And by mid-2015, the slaughter rates had dropped. Now, why had they dropped? Because there were no more donkeys.
Because the donkeys were just going missing.
And they were being slaughtered. So what happened? The donkey traders and the donkey thieves start bringing donkeys in from Senegal, from Mali, from Burkina Faso. So again, the voices became louder that there needed to be something done. People's donkeys were being stolen. People who use donkeys for work had their donkeys stolen. So then, in 2017, the Ministry of Food and Agriculture banned the export and slaughter of donkeys. Eventually, Blue Coast Abattoir, that's the name of the abattoir, closed down. But then recently, there was an investigative team, I think they're called Oxpec. They went there, found out that Blue Coast Abattoir is now expanding its facilities. They've started, they claim to have renewed their licenses, have all their paperwork intact, and, well, they want to start slaughtering donkeys again. When they contacted the veterinary services, they told them that, well, they hadn't issued any licenses, so they really don't know where this was from. The guy in charge told the people that, well, this is the region of our vice president, so there's no way they'll be doing anything illegal. I said, yo, this is Ghana. Ghana we did. Ghana we did. And so, of course, you smell something fishy. But listen, at the end of the day, there are lots of problems with this kind of thing. First of all, the people who use donkeys for their livelihoods are going to suffer. People are getting their things stolen. People wake up and see that their donkeys have been skinned. It's just really, really terrible. So the labor that the donkey is for it ends up being, you have to end up being manual. Exactly, manual. There have been reports that girls have had to drop out of school because there are no more donkeys, so now they have to do the work. The second thing, people bringing in donkeys from other countries, you don't know what kind of diseases they're bringing in. Nobody is controlling it. Third thing, the donkeys are getting extinct. It's actually factual that the number of donkeys in the Walewale district have reduced significantly.
That's crazy.
Right?
First of all, I'd like to say, I think this is just another example of there's so many industries in the country that we don't know about.
Yeah,
like
I was
the
shocked.
hemp growers thing kind of surprised me. And now we have a whole donkey industry. Like I was
shocked. I didn't know this. And people are really, really upset because this, like you said, this is their livelihood. Yeah. And then this is what's going to happen. Again, the Chinese come, you say that, okay, it's all good because they're offering jobs to the locals, but this is what's going to happen. The donkeys are going to go extinct. The jobs are going to go because the Chinese will pack up and go to the next region.
Exactly. They don't care. They're here to make money and leave. They're not here. They don't care what they leave behind because they know this is just one stop for them. And when the donkeys are all gone, they'll move to maybe Senegal and pick up there and whatnot. And again, it's just alarming and annoying that foreigners can just come and do whatever. Like, how are they able to maneuver so easily, end up in obscure... I've never been to Walewale, and yet somehow there's a Chinese factory there, and they're organizing
they know what they're doing.
The theft of donkeys for illegal... Like, what on earth? No.
It's terrible. I was so upset when I read the story, because I just couldn't, how is this possible? How do you say it's just sick and old donkeys and then suddenly you're slaughtering old donkeys?
Hundreds a day. How many donkeys get sick per day? How many donkeys are there for 100 or however many to be killed per day?
And I hope something is done about it. I mean, obviously the population of the donkeys has reduced. Now there's only so much you can do.
And of course, we're not good at preservation things, saying that we have to make sure they mate and create the next generation. We don't know how to do those kind of things. So the next thing we'll hear, there's just no more donkeys in Ghana.
And that's it. And I end up sorry.
Yes. And now we import donkeys like we import tomatoes, chicken, rice, everything else. It's
really upsetting story. I read it and I just couldn't believe it. It was so upsetting.
And then you don't hear about these things either.
No. Where would I have... Under normal circumstances, I probably wouldn't have. But then somehow it just popped up and I said, this is crazy.
Yeah.
This is insane. And so that's my news.
That was good. Thank you. All right. So moving on to songs of the week. And I have 3 for you this week. And the first one is called The Vow. And it's by Timi Dakolo. And it's actually my mom that put me onto this song because I don't really know I don't really know his music that well, although I do know his name. So Timi Dakolo is a Nigerian singer, but he was actually born in Ghana apparently, and because his mom is Ghanaian, but he was raised in Port Harcourt, where he grew up singing in church, and he rose to fame after winning the inaugural season of Idol's West Africa. So this was in 2007, after which he won a record contract with Sony BMG. And he's currently, or I believe has been, a judge on The Voice Nigeria as well. So The Vow came out in 2016, and it's just a beautiful, it's more like a traditional soul song. It actually reminds me of Lamar. I don't know if you know Lamar, who is also Nigerian. I think he's also Igbo, but he's British. That kind of reminds me of his type of music, just kind of like a classic soul. And of course, Timi Dakolo has an amazing voice, just absolutely stunning voice. And yeah, I really liked the song. So that's my first one, The Vow. My second one is by an artist called Cautious Clay. And the song is called Cold. What did you say? And the song is called Cold War. So Cautious Clay is a 26-year-old singer, songwriter, and multi-instrumentalist. He plays saxophone, he plays guitar, he plays piano, I think he plays drums, and an all-round genius. And he was born Joseph Carpe in Brooklyn. Now, I looked up the name Carpe, and it seems to be very popular in Liberia. So he could be, he could be one of us, possibly. But again, he grew up in New York, so. And he graduated from George Washington University in 2015, which is in the DC area. And he actually worked in real estate and marketing for 2 years before dedicating himself to music full time. So Cold War is the first single off of the first EP he dropped, which is called Blood Type, and came out in 2018. And it's a very unique, I don't know how to describe it. I don't really know what genre of music it is. Maybe electronic R&B. But I don't know. Well, that's why you go listen to it, and you tell me what genre you think that is. But it's a great song. He's just a very talented young man, and I love his voice as well. So that's my second song, Cold War. And my third song is by Kranium. So I know if you like dancehall and reggae, you know who Kranium is. He's a 26-year-old Jamaican singer, does reggae dancehall. And his name is Kimar Donaldson. And he was born in Montego Bay, so not too far from where my mommy's from. So yay, we're cousins. That's what I've decided. And he moved to Miami and then to New York as a teenager. And he signed to Atlantic Records and got his major boost with the song Nobody Has to Know, which I know a lot of you probably recognize. And that came out in 2013. And if you know Kranium's music, you know he's noted for his very kind of sexy, sultry music. This song is called In Charge, and it came out in December of 2019, so just in time for the Christmas season. And once again, it's just, your quintessential Kranium track, just beautifully sung, pretty edgy and naughty, but wonderful. So yeah, just real quick, those are my 3 songs this week. The Vow by Timi Dakolo, Cold War by Cautious Clay, and In Charge by Kranium.
Okay. All right. So I have only 2 songs for you this week. And the first one is a song called Makuma by Pappy Kojo featuring Joey B.
Oh, yes.
I love that song. Yeah, it's a bit old. It's, I think, from 2017. But I first heard it a couple of weeks ago. And I loved it.
Oh, yeah. It's a great song.
Dope song. I think we've talked about Pappy Kojo here before.
Yeah,
we've talked about Joey B.
For sure.
So
was
I'm not
2 weeks ago.
I know. So please, let's not go into all that. But Makuma is a really, really good song. You should go check it out. The second song that I have for you is from Young L, and the song is designed. I love
you. I love you. Yeah, God!
I know.
We
so
both
underrated.
listen.
I don't understand.
It's disgusting.
I don't understand.
Actually,
why is he not
He's probably
famous?
my top. Like, no, he's amazing. What was his last album called? Finally, Better Late Than Never.
Better Late Than Never, something like that. Yeah,
Go listen. I featured a song of his on here, but that was last season.
Too, yeah.
Go listen to Better Late Than Never. Honestly, it's a no skip album.
Really,
legitimately. I'm such a huge fan of his. So yeah. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
So talk about tangents. Wow. Okay.
So the song is called Designer, and like I said, from Young L. The song is from about 2014. And it's a very old song, but it's also a very good song. And it's one of the first songs that I actually heard from him. And that's how I got to know.
Mine was SOS.
Listen.
Oh, it's a jam, man.
Beautiful. I think he's very, very talented. I know there's something that he does with his mouth. Like he plays like an instrument. Like a flute or something. That's pretty good. And we've talked about him on here before as well. I mean, he followed his mom to church. She introduced him to the drama, and he's just a very talented fella. Go listen.
He was with Grip Boys. So who's other? What's the guy's name? Young L. I can't remember the other one. There were 3 of them. The other one is also making me. Oh my god!
Is it BOJ? No,
not BOJ. Oh, I can see his face camera. I'm so sorry, but he's all, just look them up. Grip Boys. The third guy disappeared. The third artist, he was the rapper in the group, and that is Ice Prince's younger brother. And then the 2 Young L and the other guy were singers, and both of them are still making music, and they're all doing very well and making great tracks. So check them both out. But yeah, Young L,
he's amazing. I mean, you guys should promote.
I think he went to med school, and then he realized, he went to medical school, so he's a sharp brain, but he realized he didn't. It wasn't for him, so he had to do that difficult decision where he's like, I'm not going to be a doctor. I'm going to make dance hall tracks or whatever, which is an awkward conversation. But I'm so grateful he stuck it out because again, beautiful music, absolutely. And I'm sorry that I can't remember the other guy's name because I'm a big fan of his. But yeah. I just So
those are my 2 songs. Makuma, Pappy Kojo, Pappy. Makuma, Pappy Kojo, Fishing Joey B, and Young L Designer.
Wonderful. Right. Okay, so I have a doozy of a what the F this week. So, and we're off to Uganda. Now, I feel like Uganda has been wilding of late. I feel like a lot of what the F-free is coming out of Uganda. So,
what have they done now?
And also, I need to put a disclaimer here. This is not in any way, shape, or form a trans-bashing type of what the F. Not that, I'm sure some of you won't care because haters, but for those of us with sensitivity to LGBTQ, there's more. There's more. This is not about that at all. Okay, so a Ugandan Imam got the shock of his life. Did you see that story?
I got married to... Yeah.
Got the shock of his life after discovering that his newlywed wife was in fact a man. Now, the Imam, called Muhammad Mutumba, said he had gone to the mosque as usual one Friday for prayers, and according to him, he spotted a beautiful lady there in her hijab, and he said since he was already looking for someone to marry, when he saw this lady, he told her he was captivated by her beauty and he loved her and he was interested in getting married to her. Now, she said her name was Swebula Nabukira. So he saw Swebula and he's like, I love you, I want to marry you, just like that. And she too, she said, yes, I agree. But she said there would be no nookie, no sexy times until he went and saw her family and paid the dowry and they exchanged their marriage vows. So Muhammad was like, Charlie, he will seal this thing, lock this thing down sharply.
Seal the deal.
And so he went and got his dowry together within a week and presented it at the home of Swebula. And presented it to Swebula's aunt, Nura, who has now been arrested for complicity in this thing, and she's professing her innocence. She said she had no idea, which says because that is truly her niece. So for her to say she had no idea, that's a bit of a stretch. But anyway, so Muhammad in his dowry presented 2 goats, 2 bags of sugar, 3 cans or packets of biscuits, a carton of salt, and a Quran. And so they got married and moved into Muhammad's house into separate bedrooms, because this is a key factor. They moved into separate bedrooms of his 2-bedroom house. So Muhammad said that they were unable to consummate the marriage because Swebula said for 2 weeks that she was on her period. Now, poor Muhammad clearly doesn't know anything about women's biology. Because 2 weeks though. But anyway, he, being the loving husband, agreed to wait patiently until she was ready. So everything was going fine until things took a curious turn when a neighbor claimed to have seen the new Mrs. Mutumba climb the wall into his house and steal the television and clothing. So this neighbor went and reported to the police. And so they arrested Swebula, who was at this point still wearing, jalabia, or was it still wearing women's clothing. So, as of course it's customary to search prisoners before putting them at counterback, as we like to say, it was during the search that they discovered there was an unusual package on Swebula being in the. This, of course, being a whole penis. Okay, so at that point they contacted the husband, or he was already out there. And told him to come, and he didn't want to believe it, but of course seeing is believing. So that's when he found out that his new bride is in fact a man called Richard.
Richard.
Richard Tumushabe, who is 27. So Richard confessed that he was duping Muhammad to get access to Muhammad's money.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, surely
a lot. That's
doing the most.
Getting married.
I mean, but I guess Charlie, he got his dowry out of the 2 goats and salt and whatnot.
That is insane.
He moved into a house, free rent, 2-bedroom house, cute vibe. But I guess it wasn't enough, so that's why I had to go and steal a television, climb the wall and steal a television from the neighbor. And you have to wonder how long he was going to pull this con off. Because this period, was it going to last for a year? Or how was that going to work?
Another excuse, probably.
I guess. So the state prosecutor in the case said, and I quote, "The youth should find better means to earn a living instead of engaging in such stupid acts. And no truer words have ever been spoken. Like, let's get it together, please." And again, why I was saying that this is not a trans bashing thing is I do believe, based on his confession, that it's not as though he identifies as a woman or something like that. He was literally trying to pull off a very elaborate and rather stupid scam on this Muhammad, who has since been suspended as an imam because they said you can't be an imam if you're married to a man. So
no, it's not his fault. But didn't he know?
I mean, listen, when he was going on about this beauty, because they showed pictures of Richard and
beauty like that, beautiful Richard.
Like, no. Unless this guy, maybe she was wearing a veil the whole time or whatever, because I mean, he basically looked like a dude. And his makeup skills were highly lacking. Next time, Richard, go on YouTube and step your makeup skills up if you're trying to. But it did work. This is by the way, this is a small village type setting. I think that's why you couldn't try this in a city. They'll catch you on day one. One time. But I think people were a bit naive and didn't see that coming. So I guess that's how he got away with it for however many weeks, 3 weeks or something.
Maybe the imam was also desperate, so he was not even seeing.
I know, he said he was on the hunt for a while.
So he saw and he was willing,
Yeah. So that's my what the F this week.
Okay, so in my what the F, I'm talking about a bizarre Airbnb experience. Now, Airbnbs can either be a hit or a miss, and I had an experience where we stayed at an Airbnb and we had an extra visitor, an extra furry visitor the whole time. I mean, online the place looked like beautiful, but then when you got in there, extra visitor paying nothing. But that's a story for another day. Now, in this story, a 26-year-old man went to New York and was alarmed at the request of his Airbnb hostess. So he gets there after a long flight, he's tired and he just wants to sleep, as you would be. Now, he fell asleep only to wake up to the note of the Airbnb hostess, and she said he needed to keep the room clean and free of odor. Oh, which seems fair, right? Okay. But then she added that after your flight, you had a strong odor, yet you didn't take a shower before going to bed. As the owner, I am extremely displeased with this fact.
So is this an Airbnb where the person is living there?
I think so. Then she sort of rented
a room kind of thing.
Exactly, and then she sort of, I guess he rented it out.
So as she was on the premises or she was somewhere else?
I don't know.
Because how does she know he didn't take a shower and all this?
Maybe she was close by. Maybe she was close by. You didn't respect the cleanliness of my room. I might have to report to AirBnB. You failed to keep up with the personal hygiene and lower the quality of my room. Now, there are ways to convey what you want, how you want the person to keep your room. This isn't it. I think this is
so
extremely
rude
rude
and demeaning.
And if you're going to be so finicky about it, then just don't rent out your room. This is not it. This is not it. Yeah, there are people who just don't like to take their bath, and if you know you're allergic to such people, don't rent out your room. This was just incredibly rude from her. I think it's not done. I
mean, listen, I have a sensitive nose, and sometimes, Charlie, the body odor can have you step. It's like a slap in the face. But I don't think any of us go around telling strangers, can you not go and use deodorant or get you stink? We don't do. It's not.
Unless we know you personally, we'll tell you.
And even then, it's an awkward conversation. You're like, Charlie,
it is. Charlie, you're amputee.
Charlie, today, you know, try.
And there's a nice way to do this. You know, it's just I found it really terrible. That's just a short what the heck. Don't do that. It's rude. It's rude.
But I think we do need, maybe we have to have a 2 pesos on how to have difficult hygiene conversations with people. Because really, how do you tell somebody, your co-worker, that, listen, your breath stinks?
Or your armpit.
Or your pits. Because some people, fresh in the morning, and that's the one, like, early at 8 a.m. and you stink. How? What? Why?
A lot of people like wearing, if in this heat, if you're wearing nylon and polyester,
that's the thing. You also and all these cheap clothes tend to be polyester. And Auntie Polly, she's a deceiver. Listen, it holds body odor like it doesn't. It's disgusting. Sometimes you even wash it and it still has the smell. So.
If you can afford the cotton, just use cotton over polyester. It's not. And it's hot here, so please, take care of yourself. It's important.
Right,
and that's my word.
Thank you. Okay, so my 2 pesos this week is pretty short, and it's on dating red flags. Now, let me interrupt and say that the whole time I kind of haven't been looking into the camera. I'm so sorry. I've been looking at this red light. It's like it's been hypnotizing me. So I've been looking in the wrong place all episode long. So forgive me if you're watching on YouTube. That's what it is. So I have 4 red flags to look out for today. One of them is actually one we all know. And why I even decided to talk about this is that there are 3 more that I didn't realize they were names for. So I found that one amusing and quite informative. So let's get into it. So the first dating red flag is, like I said, the one we're probably most familiar with, ghosting.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So ghosting is when the person you're talking to stops responding to calls and messages and seemingly vanishes off the face of the earth. Now, I would say that after 3 or 4 days of somebody ghosting you, just consider that a loss. Just cut them off, because I think unless, like, let me put it this way: if you vanished for more than 3 days and you decide to pop up again, I better see a hospital, a doc, you better have been in a car accident. Your something, and you're gonna have to come with receipts. If you say you were in a car accident, you better show me a crash site. If you were sick, you better show me the diagnosis of malaria or whatever, because it's extremely rude, and there's no amount of busyness in the world. Like even the president could have responded within 3 days. So if somebody ghosts you, it's a sign that they don't respect you and they don't consider your feelings. And because it doesn't take much just to say, hi, I've been very, very busy. So sorry that I can't really. That is it. And you know that, all right, this person is swamped. Things are not, it's not the usual. So you can just chill out. Now, this whole thing of disappearing leads right into my second dating red flag. And this one is called zombieing. So zombieing is when the ghost comes back from the dead with a random message out of the blue. So let's say, listen, look, I have lived this. And it is the most annoying thing in the world. And people love to be zombies these days. So yes, when your ghost comes back with a message like, "Oh hey," and typically in my experience they act like nothing is wrong.
That's the worst bit of what
So it's like, am I insane or are you insane? Because I sent you, and I don't like to send. I'm one of those people. I'll call you once and you get 2 messages and that's it. I'm not going to be like, "Hey, good morning. Hey, where are you?"
At some point I'll stop.
No. So so your ghost, it'll be a week, 2 weeks, sometimes whatever, and they're just like, "Oh hey babes." I'm like, who is your babes here? Like, let's listen. Take it from me. End the vicious cycle of ghosting and zombieing as soon as possible. If they do it once, thank you. If they do it once, just know that they'll do it again. Because again, as far as I'm concerned, there's no reason why in that time you couldn't have sent some type of message or some type of really quick call saying things are crazy here.
I'm busy, but I'll get back to you.
Yes,
it's so simple.
I just need a couple of days or whatever. I'm so sorry. It is the 10 seconds of effort, 1 minute of effort. So yeah, that is the second dating red flag, and those two go hand in hand. Look out for the ghosts and look out for the zombies. And we've all watched, I think, Walking Dead or some type of zombie movie. You know what to do with a zombie. Cut off the head, stab it in the brains, and kill it once and for all. Let it go. It's not worth it.
Nope.
All right. Now, so I was also going to say, it seems the trend of zombieing peaks during Christmas. You're just there and suddenly, hey, thinking of you. If you don't clear off, like, just wanted to say Happy New Year. I hope things back good. We don't need your greeting. We don't need it. Keep it. Anyway, so that's dating red flag number 2. Dating red flag number 3 is called breadcrumbing.
I was going to talk about that. Really? Was on 2 Pesewas, but then in the work-related.
I see.
Wow, look at that.
Fancy that.
Look at that.
So, and I wonder if it's the same thing, but it might be. Okay, so breadcrumbing is, again, when this person that you've been talking to sends random, non-committal, text or messages that go nowhere, right? So he's always on the phone, he always talks to you, etc. But there's never any next step kind of thing. So like, hey, what's up? Hi, did you watch that show? Hi. But there's never any, okay, so when would you like to hang out? Should we go for dinner? Should we go for the movies? I'd like to see you. It's just,
doing enough to keep you
to keep you strung along.
Exactly.
And that's exactly what
it is.
It's stringing you along. So that they know that you're on the roster, and that's going to tie into my last dating red flag, which is called benching. So benching is basically the sister to breadcrumbing, where the person again is very communicative this time, but somehow again, so it's basically saying that they want to have you on the bench. Now, if you're and so they keep you, again, strung along, texting, calling often, and it's not as sporadic as breadcrumbing, because breadcrumbing is just sporadic texts. Every holiday, for sure, you'll get a message, just hey, hope your day was good. Then you'll be like, oh, it was, and then there'll be no follow-up. Or, good morning, and you're like, good morning. And then you don't hear anything, and then they'll be like, good night.
Some of you are mad. Truly.
That is breadcrumbing. I didn't describe it properly. Just text like that. You're like, Then keep your good morning then. Hey, hope you're having a good day. Then you're like, I am. What are you up to?
And
then nothing. Then you don't hear anything. Then 2 days later, sorry, I hope all is well. And you're like, just look, cut off the breadcrumbers, because what a breadcrumber is doing is, again, point 4, trying to have you on his bench. So benching is they'll step up. A benching requires a bit more than breadcrumb type conversation. That's one, they'll ask you about your day, actually listen, actually respond, actually interact, to the point where you're thinking, oh wow, there's something here. But there'll never be any, should we go check out this concert together, or nothing. So what you can glean from somebody that is trying to bench you is that he has a starting team. Okay? That means there is a main person who he's trying to work things out with. But in case that doesn't pan out, he wants to step right into your situation. Therefore, he wants to sub you in from the bench without any period of, oh, now I have to go look for another.
More than that.
You are, don't
cut him off.
And it's not too hard to tell. That's the sad thing. Like, our instincts kick in pretty early, and we're just like, oh no, because maybe, can't be like, and I'm being too extreme, and that's why I don't have a man, because they say I'm too difficult.
Cut him off. Cut her off.
And I don't know. We know when these things are occurring, and we try and make, because most of us are so gracious or whatever, we try to make sense of, we try to rationalize for them. But no, because don't try and rationalize somebody's stupid behavior. They're being stupid. Just take it like that and cut them off. So, just to summarize, the four, and there are many more, of course. One being, he only hangs out with you late at night. Even if you were benched and you think you've progressed, because now he's hanging out, but he only calls you at 10:30. It means he has a whole situation going on during the day. You are for after hours. Like, there's so many signs like that. But for now, these are the four: ghosting, zombieing, breadcrumbing, and benching. And so that's it.
And just to add, I was having a chat with my girlfriend. I'm sure I've had this talk with you as well. And we're talking about dating, and she said, well, this is on Twitter a lot as well, that if you're dating somebody, these days you have to ask, are you dating somebody? Is somebody dating you? Because some of you out here, boy. Woo.
It's like you ask, are you single? And he's like, yes. Does your girlfriend know you're single? Like, it's like, does anyone else agree that you're single? Because is it just you independently single? Because it's just
madness out there.
Too much craziness. And me, I'm all over people's socials. Like, if I'm talking to
they'll block you.
They block
They'll block you.
So you don't see what's going on. No, that's a red flag, right? If you're like, oh, I'm not really on social. I need to see who you're posting there and what you're posting on. Even if it's not women related, maybe you're there posting Trump will save America or something. I need to know. I need to know.
People hide too much about themselves. Yes. It's just wrong. It's just really wrong.
So anyway.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So my Pesewas today is on alcohol. And it's stop drinking so damn much. Now, I saw an article recently about a sober bar in Brooklyn. So they basically don't serve alcohol. And I thought, maybe this is a good time to talk about drinking too much. Now, alcohol is a powerful psychoactive. It can make people aggressive. It can calm people down. It has different effects on different people. But the question is always, what is the aim of you drinking yourself into stupor? Like, what is the goal of you drinking so much that you're rolling on the floor, that you pass out, that you're driving and you go and hit somebody? What is the aim? Like, what is the aim? And of course, it's a social thing to drink. I mean, it's you get together, you have a few drinks, and that's okay. But when you start binging and you start threatening the lives, or endangering rather the lives of other people, you have a problem.
Yeah.
If you have to tell people that, for me, I have to drink so much before I get a hangover, you're already heading into the zone of you've got problems. You've got problems. And the National Institute of Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism says that sometimes your genes are also responsible for how much alcohol you actually consume. So if you have a parent who used a lot of alcohol, or who drinks a lot of alcohol, then you're very susceptible to also drinking a lot. If you feel you're drinking too much, you might need to get help. The fact is, and we all know this, that alcohol is toxic to the body. We know this. It will wear down your organs, your health, your appearance. You may lose your bearings. I've already talked about driving drunk. You may not kill yourself. You may end up killing somebody else. And your relationship may be strained. Your sex life may be strained as well. Alcohol might not be as beneficial as you might think. As me, I'm going to drink these bitters. I'm going to drink this alcohol. It's going to help me. Actually, no, it's not going to help you. Your liver is going to suffer. Your liver is probably groaning under the stress of having to process so much alcohol all the time, right? You could also weaken the muscles of your heart. Like basically, it's an all-around thing. Your central nervous system. You've got people who drink and then they start slurring their speech. That's your brain and your body not being able to coordinate. Please stop drinking so damn much. You want to stay alive, please. I know sometimes it happens to the best of us. Like you're at a setting, you're drinking, and you're like you just forget yourself. It can happen. But if this is something that you do constantly, you need to get help. Or you need to stop. It's not good for you. It really, really isn't. So please cut down on your drinking. Have a drink every now and then. It's not right. But stop binging and acting crazy. It's not cute.
It's not cute. Now this could have been my sub
really?
some years ago.
So no, I don't think
confessional. So. I went to a let's just say a white people college, right? So my university experience, you know that expression, white girl wasted? It is a real phenomenon. Let me just tell the stories I could tell you. And I'm also one of those people who metabolizes alcohol extremely quickly. So I can basically drink anyone under a table. And but then over time, the difference is no one had to tell me. As I got older, when I finished college, and then you have those first couple of years where you're making money, and so you're living your best life. After a while, you really do start feeling it. Your body will tell you, look,
you're doing too much.
Like you start, like at one point, like I could feel, I was like, oh, is that my liver talking to me? Like, and then of course, I'm quite reserved. I don't know, you can't really tell, but I'm in my element here because but I'm not the most social person. So for me, I'm only a social drink. I won't be sitting at home drinking, but I would I need a couple of cocktails, and then I go through the phase where I get, my happy phase, and then I start talking loudly. And for me, I always know when my bottom lip goes numb, it's time to stop. If I continue after that, then we're heading into like whatever territory, and then invariably, because alcohol is actually a depressant, at one point I have just started crying. Like you have that phase where it's just that I love you guys so much. And it's truly not cute because people are like, oh my God. And having been, again, because I am able to like just handle a lot of liquor, I ended up being the default chaperone for many, many, many drunk people. And it is just annoying. They're useless. They need to be carried. You're cleaning up people's vomit. They're passing out. They're making out with people they don't know. So you have to go and pull them away. All sorts. And we're at the stage now, I think maybe by 28, really even, that should all be out of your system. You should be able to go have 1 or 2 drinks and call it a day. But again, I'm also aware that in some societies, and Ghana being one, not drinking is seen as
odd.
Especially for men, it's like, come on, have a Guinness. What you like? Let's have a couple of beers. And every day after work, everyone needs to go have 5-6 Guineas every single day.
That's
and
not
then
healthy.
On the weekend, it goes up to 10. And that's why people have all these guts, and like you can see their sclera. Is that what it's called? The sclera, the white part of the eye, is constantly red. You can tell people are actually quite unhealthy.
Your face is bloat up.
Yes, they have alcohol bloat. And it's just a thing. Like there's a few guys that I know who don't drink. It's like they're calling you whack if you don't drink. They're like, you're not even a real man.
My brother gets that because he doesn't drink. What do you mean? Don't pressure people. Please don't do that. It's not cool.
I had a friend in the States who would have to he'd get drinks and say, oh yeah, it's vodka, but it's water. Or it's Coke, and so he'll say, oh yeah, it's a Henny and Coke or whatever, just because people were making him feel weird. When he went out, they're like, we're all drinking, you're gonna be la la la. So I like the idea of a sober bar, but it shouldn't exist. You shouldn't need to be made to feel awkward just because you don't drink, indulge. It's nonsense, and it is unhealthy for you.
It really is.
The older you get, the more you feel each drink you drink, and which is why I'm just like, I'm like a little Miss Wine now, and after. Well, I want to say 2, but after I won't give you the number. But after a couple, I'm just like, yeah, okay, that's enough. And here again, the police don't monitor drunk driving. So people, after their 10 guineas, will be like,
still
all right,
driving. Yeah.
Charlie, at the go house, and literally just sit in their cars and go. It's terrible. It's terrible. So I'm glad you brought it up. I'm glad you're talking about it.
I mean, I drink, you drink, but let's just regulate how much we drink.
Yes.
You shouldn't have to binge all the time.
No, because that means something
day.
is wrong. There's a reason. Like I said, for me, it was because it was hard for me to socialize and talk to people, and alcohol kind of loosened me up a bit.
Yeah.
But then again, as you get older, you should be more confident in yourself. You should not need any help to do things, especially not from alcohol, more or less so.
Yeah, so that's my 2 pesos about on alcohol. Right?
Okay, thanks.
Okay then.
And so it's a wrap for this week, and we'll see you all next week. And again, sorry I've been staring in the wrong place the whole time. And I see you.
See ya. Bye.